Hello and welcome to SproutX 2020 Demo Day. My name's Julia Waite. I'm the Head of Operations and Program Co-Director of SproutX here in Melbourne. We are a national accelerator and venture capital fund for early stage food and agtech companies. Before we get stuck into the pictures, I'd first like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, and I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. So at SproutX, we have a pretty high opinion of our 30 alumni companies, but we feel that this year's cohort are particularly brave. And that's because on the day in March, I think it was a Monday, when we made our offers of investment, it was also the same day that the majority of Australia went into lockdown for the first time. And no one really knew what that meant back then. So we were asking these prospective founders to really take us on an offer and a promise that we were going to deliver on an uncompromising accelerator experience. And so we thank them for taking a leap of faith with us back then. Fast track 6 months later to now, you're going to see the culmination of 6 months hard work, often in unpredictable circumstances for many of the founders. So SproutX takes a national view when looking for up to 10 portfolio investments each year. And we find a point of pride in that we are location agnostic. But we go one step further to remove those geographical boundaries to entry, because we subsidise the travel costs for founders in the regions or interstate to come to Melbourne for intensive workshop sprints, meet other founders and really benefit from that energy of being all together. So you can imagine that with a COVID setting, we're a bit concerned. But this year's founders have really dived in and built the cohort effect virtually. They've been forthcoming with advice for other team members, with some banter every now and then, which we know is really important for solidifying that bond. And they've made it a real joy to move the accelerator online this year. So we thank them for that. 2020 has also been great for the fact that we've onboarded 2 exceptional partners in Bayer Crop Science and GRDC. We've also seen a lot of our alumni really cement their names at the forefront of their industries. Just to mention a few, we've had 3 startups launch seed rounds, including Mobile, Pairtree Intelligence and Bloombox Co. We've had 2 teams expand internationally to New Zealand and 1 to Indonesia. And we've also had some exciting trade partnerships announced. So Fresh Supply Co, who currently track 80% of Australia's avocado exports overseas, if you're interested in avocados in particular, they've now signed a trade partnership with MasterCard and VChain in China to ensure faster payments for Australian producers. And that's just to name a few. You're going to hear more firsthand from some of our alumni tonight. We've also seen some announcements at the government level, which suggests that 2021 is going to be an exceptional year for startup. The Victorian State Government announced a $186 million package to support the startup ecosystem here over 4 years. Then at the federal level, and more targeted at ag, we welcome the $86 million drought resilience funding for innovation and adoption hubs, which will no doubt benefit the ag tech in this country. So 5 startups you're going to hear from tonight. Following that, we will have networking opportunities in live founder chat rooms, and we'll be showing you how to engage with those throughout the event. But for now, I'd like to pass on to Chris Romano, the Head of Growth and Partnerships, to take it from here.
Thanks, Julia. The culture within the startup sector is known for its pay-it-forward attitude, and there's no shortage of individuals and businesses that support accelerator programs all across Australia, and ours is no different. SproutX wouldn't be what it is without the support of its partners and community members, and we'd like to acknowledge their support of our program. Firstly, to Findex, who have backed SproutX from day one, they continue to provide unwavering support for the program and are passionate about innovation within the food and agriculture industries. Artesian, our venture capital partners, continue to back startups who participate in our program and provide pre-seed capital, which of course is critical in those early days for our teams who are building their products and looking to scale. Our premier corporate partners, Bayer and the Grains Research and Development Corporation, have been amazing for us this year. SproutX prides itself on being an accelerator that can support distribution and networks for founders, and this is what Bayer and GRDC provides. They have mentored our founders, opened up their networks, and given them early access to internal projects where our startups can add value. We'd also like to thank our mentors, partners, and those who have joined our workshops to share their expertise with our cohort. It takes a great deal of support and generosity from our partners and wider community to enable a program like SproutX to exist. We look forward to working with these partners again in 2021. We're now going to hear from Michael Dean. In addition to being a SproutX board member, Michael performs a number of roles. He's the founding partner of Agfunder and executive director of Grow Agri-Food Impact Accelerator and an investor, just to name a few. We're fortunate to have Michael with us tonight to share his thoughts on what we can expect from the agri-food space going into next year. Over to you, Michael.
Thanks, Chris. Hello, everybody. It's fantastic that you've been able to join us for the 2020 SproutX Demo Day. I hope you and your families have been able to stay safe during this really challenging period. I'd like to start by congratulating Julia and Chris for delivering yet another fantastic program at SproutX. And well, what a year it's been. Predictably, the impact of COVID-19 on our industry has been substantial, with a definite pulling back of investment levels as many investors waited to see how things would pan out, quite reasonably. Having said that, we've also seen a few trends accelerate during this period. For example, online food delivery is one of them, is a huge increase in home ordering during lockdown. And that's resulted in investors flocking back to the space, as we've seen some big ticket investments over the past 6 months. The movement to increase local food production and supply is also accelerating. This has seen an increased investment in controlled environment ag and the associated enabling technologies, as more and more investors are seeing the many benefits of local production in not only environmental impact and food quality terms, but also as well as the obvious food security and availability benefits. Similarly, the role of food in staying healthy has also become a major focus. With the onset of COVID, we saw many sufferers of food-related diseases like diabetes being among the worst affected. That's really sort of brought the attention of investors through to our space, and we're seeing more money come into that food as medicine part of the market. The need to digitize and rationalize the entire value chain has never been more important. This was particularly evident in emerging markets, as we saw enormous waste and even increased starvation as a result of faltering supply chains. But it was also a major problem in developed markets. As food service shut down, we found our supply channels couldn't be altered quickly enough to alternative markets. So there was enormous waste. Big example was the dairy industry. Certainly in America, saw a lot of wasted milk as a result of food service being shut down. There remain so many problems to fix in our global food system, so many challenges ahead with climate change. And these things are working to impact on our ability to sustainably produce food. And as a result of that, it's never been, in our view, a better time to invest in agriculture and food technologies. So what does the investment landscape look like in agri-food tech for 2020? Now, we'll be releasing our latest report in February next year. But the figures we're seeing at this stage, and it is early, we're still working through the figures, definitely show patchy investment levels. While some sectors are accelerating, others have seen substantial declines. As far as total investment levels, they look likely at this stage to come in around 20% below the 29 figure of 22 billion, and that's a global figure. Given the disruption we've seen this year, that's actually not a bad result, we think. Activity levels have generally been pretty good. We've seen VCs taking advantage of COVID-impacted valuations. It's not been so great for the startups, but in a market like this, getting investment is far more important than the valuation at which you receive it. But in some markets, we've seen valuations drop by up to 30%. But it's recovering. There have been some conspicuous winners. Funding for what we call midstream tech and innovative food, especially alternative protein startups, has been good and has accelerated significantly this year. That's obviously been bolstered by COVID-19's threat to food supply chains and the largely negative impact on the meat industry that we've seen, with a number of meat processing facilities, certainly in the US, shutting down as a result of COVID-19 and disruption to the supply chain. And while we're hopeful the level of investor activity will continue to increase, the repeated lockdowns will be a big concern and are a big concern for the global economy. So we just need to watch how that trend develops. But we're expecting that, all things being equal, investment levels will continue to rise, and we'll get back to a level of normality, hopefully sometime Q2, maybe Q3 next year. So looking a little deeper and breaking it out a little bit, midstream tech, which I mentioned earlier, which supports food logistics, supply chains and traceability, has done pretty well, largely due to the high demand in the current environment. Innovative foods, which, as I mentioned, includes a somewhat frothy alternative protein category, has easily surpassed its total funding for 2019. Surging consumer demand for these products has played a key role in this. And as a result, it's drawing VCs, generalist VCs, into the space, obviously because they see the much bigger markets where consumers are involved, purchasing these products and developing these brands. But the fundamentals still apply. The team needs to be world-class and the product needs to taste fantastic. But if you can tick those boxes, you're going to raise a lot of money from venture capital. Ag biotechnology has done well and is on track to easily beat its 2019 total of 1.1 billion. I'm not going to say what it'll get to, but it looks like it's easily going to surpass that. Like many innovative food companies, ag biotech is capital intensive with long development cycles, which can be difficult for VC investors with a limited fund life. But there's a very, very strong need in the market for new crop varieties and on-farm treatments, particularly those with a reduced or little environmental impact. Sustainability across the entire food value chain is increasingly becoming a key investment criteria for most investors. And that's really a reason for the launch of our own Grow Impact Fund at Agfunder. On the downside, investment in farm management software, sensing, IoT type technologies is down this year and looks likely to fall well short of last year's investment levels, maybe by as much as 50%. This is a particularly tough category at the moment. It is very domain specific, and you need to have investors who understand farming and understand the sector. And many of the ag special investors have already made their bets and are waiting to see which winners emerge and how the category evolves before backing up and looking at new alternatives or looking at new technologies that are emerging. Looking forward, we see continued interest in the categories that have done well during the pandemic. Midstream technologies that I mentioned, ones that are delivering efficiencies and resilience to the supply chain are going to do well. Alternative proteins and new innovative food categories that are driving human health, they'll continue to attract good investment, as will biotechnologies that will help reduce environmental impact of traditional ag while driving on-farm efficiencies. And that's always got to be the goal, solving big problems for farmers, big problems for the supply chain, and big problems for retailers on the consumer side. Similarly, with labour shortages and high costs continuing to be a major impediment to farm production, we see robotics and automation as an investment focus for smart investors moving forward. So all up, in a challenging year in which agri-food technology really stood up well, yeah, we think that next year is shaping up, and we're very bullish about next year. We think that we're going to emerge from this with a real focus and a real understanding within the market of the need to improve supply chains and to invest in technologies to do that and to make emerging markets more resilient, our own supply chains and our value chains more resilient and obviously more sustainable. I send my strongest congratulations to every team presenting tonight and wish them well for strong growth in 2021. I've spoken long enough, so now without further ado, please welcome to the virtual stage the SproutX cohort of 2020.
Hi everyone, this is Rowie from Tap Farming. We were part of the first cohort of SproutX, and I'm happy to record this video from the beautiful northern part of New South Wales, where we're working with some of the largest agribusinesses in Australia. Tap Farming is a cloud-based software solution dedicated only for the horticulture industry. Since the Accelerator program in July 2017, we've completed a seed round, and now we're in the midst of doing an extension for the seed round. We launched a new platform, and we've seen a huge increase in our customer base. And I would like to wish all of the new cohort good luck, and I'd like to invite Paul from Ambit Robotics. Thank you.
Imagine this is your job every day. The heat of the sun, the moisture of your breath behind the mask, the clouds of chemicals kicked up by the wind. For spray teams in Asia, their job is a dead end, with poor opportunities for advancement and low pay. But the challenges don't end here. Every cropping season, farmers in Asia spend over $20 billion on labour to spray from a backpack. They get little in return, including poor accuracy and significant wastage of chemicals to rivers and soils. But the challenges are even greater. When farmers sell their produce on to agribusinesses, they pass on not only the high cost of this inefficiency, but foods that are high in chemical residues. Ambit Robotics is helping to change this reality. Our robots cut this huge labour bill by 80% and deliver cheaper and safer foods. That's why some of the largest agribusinesses in Southeast Asia, including Bayer and Corteva, have chosen to work with us. Our 3 design partners are testing our robots this year in India, Thailand and Indonesia. Our early tests show that our robots can pay for themselves in labour saving after just 4 months. I've worked in agriculture in Asia for over 10 years and consulted to some of the largest agribusinesses in the region and interviewed farmers right across Asia. I understand farmers' pain point around ever-increasing labour costs and how corporate agribusinesses are always looking for new innovations to help drive profitability. Built here in Melbourne, our mission is for Ambit Robotics to become the dominant robot-based spray platform in Southeast Asia, in partnership with farmers, spray teams and corporate agribusinesses. Our current production is limited, constraining our ability to meet the future demands of our design partners. That's why in 2021, we'll be raising a seed round to help us go to scale with our existing design partners and double our customer base. To wrap things up, Ambit Robotics is helping to solve a massive problem for farmers and agribusinesses in a $20 billion market. But we're doing one more thing. We're creating a new beginning for spray teams, setting them up as robot franchisees and helping them to double their incomes. And that's why I'm proud to lead Ambit Robotics. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ollie, co-founder and CEO of Platfarm. And at Platfarm, we're on a mission to make any of the 30 million simple tractors in the world smarter just by using a grower's everyday smartphone. We turn this into a navigation device telling the tractor operator when to start and stop work or change rate. And at Platfarm, we're at the moment currently collaborating with Kubota. So we're creating some case studies using their customers and actually showing them the benefits of what they can achieve when they start using their mobile phones to help them to farm smarter. And we're also helping to lead an industry-wide open mapping project called Collaboraculture, which is going to put in place accurate maps for all of Australia's vineyards. And we're working on actually taking that out globally. And we at Platfarm were a part of the 2018 cohort at SproutX, which was one of the best decisions that we ever made. I just wanted to wish everybody in the 2020 group the very, very best of luck over the coming months. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Angus from Agtuary as the next picture.
Hi, I'm Angus, co-founder of Agtuary, where we're simplifying the access to farm finance. With demand for agricultural production expected to double by 2050, the Australian agricultural sector is set to nearly double in value over the next 10 years, increasing from a $60 billion to a $100 billion market. As a result, the market for agricultural loans is now over $70 billion, with that estimated to almost double by 2030. This growth is supercharging the demand for financial products in agriculture. But today, for one bank to create one loan, it can take up to 2 months. In fact, bankers say that nearly 80% of their time is spent on manually processing forms and applications. And why does it take so long? Because digitization has not yet come to agricultural finance. As a result, the farmer doesn't readily have the information available. In fact, nobody does. It's mostly stored on paper, in emails, spreadsheets or notes passed back and forth between the farmer, their accountant, their broker and the bank. This is a massive headache for everyone involved. And this is just wrong. It's impossible to grow a market this way, and it's impossible to grow food this way. At Agtuary, we're simplifying the lending process by giving farming businesses and their partners a single platform to digitise all of their information. By storing a digital copy of their financials, production statistics, company documentation, and anything else needed to grow, finance and insure a farming business, we can now do in seconds what usually takes weeks. This will radically increase the productivity and growth of all involved and remove the headache of the current lending process, providing the information required more accurately and faster than ever before. For the farmer, more complete and accurate data means faster loan approval and a lower interest rate. For the accountant and broker, the digitisation of critical data enables drastic increases in efficiency, opening their doors to growth. And for a single bank that we're in discussions with, we estimate that Agtuary can save them nearly $12 million via productivity gains alone. That's $12 million just for one bank. Imagine what we can do for the whole industry. Since starting, we've won awards for innovation, set up paid pilot programs, and raised our pre-seed investment. We've built key partnerships with Findex, Australia's leading rural accounting firm, and with GrainCorp, one of Australia's largest grain exporters, as well as many others within the industry. For myself and my co-founder Matthew, this is the fourth startup we've worked at together, and the second at which we're the founders. We've both got several years of experience managing and working alongside highly technical teams from Airbus to the Japanese Space Agency. We're also proud to be joined by expertise and investment from veterans of both the agricultural and financial industries. At Agtuary, we aim to be the underlying and trusted source for data communication and management between finance and agriculture. We enable banks, brokers, farmers, and rural accountants the ability to grow their businesses faster and more efficiently through digitization and simplifying their access to finance. In a world that will require 40% more food in less than a decade, we have the opportunity to ensure that the business of agriculture has the finance it needs to grow. Thank you.
Hi guys, Chris from Provenir here. Provenir is Australia's first and only mobile abattoir, so very simply, instead of the animals going to the abattoir goes to the animals. We are one of SproutX first cohorts. We graduated in 2017. Since then we've raised over $2 million in capital funds, and we've built Australia's first and only mobile abattoir. The last year's been pretty tough with COVID, but we've had a lot of success along the way as well, so including our new Delicious award for Best Innovation, which was awarded just recently. So it's been a pretty amazing trip, and we have to thank SproutX for launching us and getting us to start. So it is with great pride that I introduce Ebottli and Nathalie, who's going to talk about that in their presentation right now. Thank you.
Everybody knows that the French is famous for its wines. My connection with wine runs ever deeper. I come from a family of winemakers, and this is the Château de Voutier in Burgundy, which has existed since the 16th century. No matter the family occasion, you can be sure that we always had plenty of wine to enjoy during our celebrations. While my family has been making wine for 40 years, we're also aware of the problems that exist within the industry. Do you know that the global wine industry has a 4.3 trillion Australian dollars problem? This problem is counterfeiting. In China alone, 50% of the wine that consumer opens is fake. This is a major problem for the Australian wine exporters. This is major due to the disrupted supply chain and the inability to efficiently track and trace the wine exports all over the world. This is where Ebottli come in. I am Nathalie Taquet, and I am the founder and CEO of Ebottli. We use Internet of Things, chair trackers, and image recognition to secure and verify the origin of wine. Writing these transactions to the blockchain, we guarantee the provenance of exported wine from harvest to consumption. For wine producers, we can simplify their supply chains, manage their compliance, and ensure authenticity in an age of imitation. Ultimately, what this means is that we enable wine producers to protect their revenue and international reputation and know that consumers are drinking the real product. And we're already doing it. You can see the Ebottli technology in use. You can see one of the Australian leading brands proving the proof that the bottling is made here in South Australia. Every single bottle is 100% protected and impossible to fake. While this is a global problem, at Ebottli we started with China. We started with China because Australia exports a lot of wine in China. They are the number one all around the world, and it represents per year $1.2 billion. Following the success of our recent trials, we are raising $350,000. This round will be enabled as to first support the onboarding of 50 wine brands by the end of next year, and second, to boost our product development. By 2022, we aim to track and protect 20% of all wine exported from South Australia to China. We are also looking for introductions to wine professionals because we are all actors to change the counterfeiting issues. So our team brings together our expertise in wine and technology. I did an executive MBA and a PhD in biochemistry, and I'm working in Nestlé in automation. My co-founder, Nicolas, working more than 14 years in IoT and cloud, especially in luxury brands like Porsche, Rolls-Royce, and Ferrari. So we combine our skills together to create Ebottli. Firsthand, we know how hard is it to produce a good bottle of wine. It's why we would like to help wineries to be paid by the hard work they did, and also to protect the brand. Thank you.
Hi, it's Romano from Pairtree speaking. Pairtree is a universal dashboard that centralises data that is related but not yet connected. Just as a bit of an update, since our 2019 cohort with SproutX, is we've taken our business from 3 co-founders now to having 5 staff. We're also nearly finished our seed round and looking to jump into a large, really exciting 2021. Part of what we've also been doing is that we now have near on 80 different integrated paired partners from Australian agtech and digital ag solutions. And one of these solutions is who I now would like to introduce to you is Sam Duncan from Farmlab. We see Sam's business looking at soil and also how to place IoT devices across that, the soil and soil types, as an integral part to driving productivity into agriculture into the future. So best of luck to Sam and all the others that are presenting tonight, and have a great night. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sam from Farmlab. What you're witnessing here today is deforestation over the course of the last 30 years. The darker areas are native bush and forests being cleared over time to make way for agricultural use. You see, Australia holds the unfortunate second place when it comes to daily deforestation, second only to Brazil and its clearing of the Amazon rainforests. Why am I telling you this? Because 1/3 of global greenhouse gas emissions come from agriculture, most of that due to changes in land use and deforestation. You see, most farmers think that to increase profit and yield, they need to increase the land that they've got, when in reality they could just be more efficient with the land that they're using. The challenge is that most farmers just don't have the information that they need to make better decisions around land use. There is an incentive to get more efficient at land use, and that's the global emissions trading system, where $45 billion was traded alone last year. But for farmers to enter into the market, it costs about $100,000 on average per project. And that's simply an unbreakable barrier that's preventing most farmers from getting into these markets. Farmlab are solving both of these problems. We provide a digital platform for farmers to help them optimise their land use and improve their soil. In fact, our case studies have already shown that we're able to decrease input costs by over 20%. And with the data that we're collecting over time, we're building better models to help measure carbon. And that's helping reduce that cost to enter the global emissions trading markets. To build an impactful team, you need a team of dedicated individuals, and I'm proud to say we have 5 of them. I met my co-founder Shahriar back in 2010 serving in the Air Force. He was a software developer that had worked on projects with the likes of the Australian government and Thomson Reuters. I picked up a passion for the environment while serving overseas with the Air Force. And throughout my career, I've led teams of over 60 people on complex logistical operations, both in Australia and overseas. Since opening our platform in 2019, we've already helped over 300 farmers improve their soil. That's over 1 million acres worth of land that we've helped improve. But to make a dent in climate change, we know we need to scale. And that's why by 2025, our goal is to have over 100,000 farmers using our platform to improve their soil and land management. And that's why we're opening our investment round today. We're seeking seed investment to help grow and scale our business. We need more developers to improve those carbon models I was talking about earlier, and we want to increase our exposure globally. Australia holds the unfortunate second place in daily deforestation, but it doesn't have to be that way. Farmers can make more profit, but they can do so by being more efficient with the land that they've already got. And Farmlab is here to help them do just that. Farmers deserve it, and our planet deserves it. Thank you.
Hey SproutX, it's Anna here from Off the Table. We're from the 2018 cohort, and some of you might remember us. We're a provenance marketing platform for food brands that uses tourism to build the connection with consumers so they can discover the source of their food. Since leaving SproutX, we have been very busy developing experiences all over Tassie, and I am so excited to announce that Qantas Insider magazine listed one of our experiences as the 14th most iconic travel experiences in Australia. That goes to Provenance Kitchen Cooking School by Kate Grim Beef. They're amazing. I'm out here at JST Abalone today because we launched a press release to say that these guys will be developing an experience at their abalone farm. But as you can hear, there's a lot of background noise because it's absolutely pissing with rain and blowing a gale. But you guys as startup founders, you eat this for breakfast. Well done with getting through the cohort. Pitch well tonight, and I am so excited to be introducing Manon from Little Green Panda.
What do you see? At first, it looks like an eco straw, but when you look closely, it's not only an opportunity to make an environmental impact, but also a business opportunity. Hi, I'm Manon Beauchamp-Tardieu, CEO and co-founder at Little Green Panda. Did you know plastic straws are one of the top 10 most found items during a beach cleanup? Not only are they harming marine life, but ultimately our health. But it doesn't have to be this way. We take agricultural waste, such as wheat, sugarcane, and bamboo, and transform this waste into sustainable drinking straws that are 100% compostable, biodegradable, water-resistant for up to 24 hours, and even ocean-friendly. In 2 years and almost no funding, we're really proud to say that we've sold over 4 million straws across 800 venues in Australia and worldwide. None of these accomplishments would have been done without our dedicated team. Amongst us, we have over 40 years of experience starting and scaling successful startups, as well as working for international FMCG brands. We've partnered with 8 of Australia's largest distributors who are helping us move big volumes. It's not just how much we sell, but who makes our products. And well, that's the best part. Our organic materials were once organic waste from family-owned farms in Mongolia and Vietnam. We're creating a greener, fairer, and kinder way to make products. Meet Mifan, one of the talented artisans from Mongolia who makes straw hats as their main business. We buy their leftover straws that would normally be burnt or buried and provide them with a second source of income. We have increased demand, but production costs money. That is why we are seeking to raise $300,000 in order to meet our clients' demand and expand our global distribution across France. Straws are one of our first products, but the brand is strong and we're currently in the final stages of developing a new range. Before we end, we need to keep in mind 3 important figures. 1, governments are jumping on board on this regulation, and right now 127 countries have banned single-use plastics. 2, 60% of millennials are more likely to buy sustainable products. And 3, the biodegradable packaging industry is now worth $90 billion. What started as a waste product can now be transformed into a useful product and tap into a mass market. But most importantly, it creates a sustainable impact on the environment.
Well, thank you, Little Green Panda. And that brings us to the end of our 5 pitches for SproutX 2020 Demo Day. But it's not all over. We are trying to recreate an organic networking experience online through Zoom. So in a moment, we'll be adding a link to join the networking chat room in the bar to your right. And we've also sent this link to you in an email prior to the event. And that's an opportunity for you to engage in some Q&A with the various founders. You'll have the freedom to bounce between breakout rooms at your leisure and also meet other members of the agtech ecosystem who are on the webinar this afternoon. If you've got something that's more appropriate for a one-on-one meeting, there are features to book a private time with one of these founders on our Eventbrite page, as well as all their contact details. So if you've been listening to the pitches today and you feel you could help the founders with one of their asks, be that with a referral, with a suggestion, a partnership, or an introduction, please don't sit on it. We ask that you act on it and that you come to the networking session after the event, or you reach out independently, but we really hope that you engage with supporting early stage agtech founders. If you know a contact, an investor, a colleague who missed out on today's live session, the recording will be available for a period of time afterwards, and they'll also be able to engage with those meeting features too. So please do share this event. However, if you're leaving us right now, we thank you so much for supporting early stage agtech in Australia. SproutX will be opening soon for 2021 applications. So please follow us on social media, and that's where you'll hear it first. So thank you very much for your support, and we'll see you next year. Bye-bye.